rumours have been circulating that Chris Ellison is not particularly happy with this mansion. Some people are never pleased. So he's bought 2 mansions on either side for a bit more privacy. And by all reports, he's planning on bulldozing this mansion and building something a little bit more to his style.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, warriors. We're here at Elizabeth Quay in Perth.
The screens around the boat will be showing the safety demonstration. We would appreciate your attention for this. And if you're sitting on the outer deck, a crew member will be with you shortly to demonstrate those life jacket procedures in person. Once the safety demonstration has concluded, I'll begin the Swan River cruise commentary. So once again, everyone, welcome aboard. Sit back, relax, enjoy the beautiful views of the Swan River. Now, 2/3 of the park remain in its original bushland state, where you can see 319 species of local flora and 80 species of birds. The other third of the park consists of the State War Memorial, which is just to our right and slightly behind us on Mount Eliza, next to some great restaurants and cafes with beautiful views over the river and the city of Perth skyline. All throughout the park, there are great walking and bicycling trails as well, and playgrounds for children. Now, the park also hosts the West Australian Botanical Gardens. Flora from all across the state have been planted in these beautiful gardens. They bloom in spring with the Wildflower Festival, and there is an Aboriginal Heritage Trail that meanders through those gardens, where you can learn a little bit about local Aboriginal culture and history. I'll come back to the park in a moment, but just to the right now we have the old Swan Brewery. This was a working brewery for 100 years, from 1879 to 1979. Since then, it has been redeveloped and turned into luxury apartments. Also a restaurant by the water's edge, a museum, a function centre, and a microbrewery that still produces ales and lagers on site. As we go past the old brewery, look above it and you'll see the treetop walk suspended above the valley in Kings Park. It's one of the major draw cards of the park, and it is part of the Aboriginal Heritage Trail that meanders through the Botanical Gardens. So you can take a nice wander through those gardens, learn about our local Aboriginal culture and history, cross the bridge with magnificent views over the river, then maybe have a picnic at the water park inside the Botanical Gardens. Now, Kings Park is the most visited tourist destination in Western Australia, and entry is free. So if you have not yet been and you have some time, I'd highly recommend spending some of your time in our beautiful Kings Park. Now everyone, as we do travel towards Fremantle this morning, keep a good lookout for bottlenose dolphins in the country. I'll give you some more details about Perth during the cruise this morning. Apart from dolphins, also keep a good lookout for black swans as we cruise towards Fremantle. A few spots along the way where we often see them. I'll point them out if I can spot them for you. The black swan is, of course, the bird this river was named after. It's our proud state emblem, and the bird that is shown on the state flag of Western Australia. But do keep Now, rumours have been circulating that Chris Ellison is not particularly happy with this mansion. Some people are never pleased. So he's bought 2 mansions on either side for a bit more privacy. And by all reports, he's planning on bulldozing this mansion and building something a little bit more to his style. Now, that's a real first world problem that Chris Ellison has. But he does have enough money to overcome that little issue that he's faced with. So that's Millionaire's Row we've been looking at. That's how the other half live here in Perth. If you'd like to enjoy the same views as these millionaires, but you don't have that kind of money, I'd recommend coming to Chidley Point, this lovely little park over to the right. As you can see, there's a nice beach, a grassed area, shady trees, benches and tables, and free bar. To Chidley Point, as you do drive through Millionaire's Row, you can have a closer look at the mansions as you go past. You can wave to the millionaires or make other gestures, and then have a picnic right on their doorstep. It's one of the great things about living in Perth, this beautiful river and all the public land along the river's edge, even in the most expensive suburbs. You might have noticed this little boat to our right-hand side and little white floats nearby. This is a recreational fisherman trying to catch the delicious blue manna crab, which is found in abundance here in the Swan River. No commercial fishing is allowed in the Swan, but a very popular spot for recreational fishermen to catch different species of fish, as well as blue manna crabs and western king prawns. If you look over to your left, you'll see Blackwall Reach, a lovely section of limestone cliffs named after a spot on the Thames in London. The Blackwall Reach is the second deepest part of this river, plunging down to 21 metres at the base of those cliffs. Now, these cliffs used to be very popular with car thieves back in the 1980s. After those thieves had had some fun with their stolen vehicles, they'd bring them here in the middle of the night and just roll them off the top of the cliffs to get rid of the evidence. Became a notorious car dumping ground, and eventually barricades had to be put up. Now today, Blackwall Reach is a spot popular with young people coming here to cliff jump into the deep waters on a warm day. It's also popular with scuba divers. They'll dive down 21 metres to look at the old Ford and Holden wrecks stuck in the mud at the bottom of the river. And those old car wrecks have turned into artificial reefs. You can see much of the marine life that lives in this tidal estuary. So, as you might have guessed, everyone, this is salt water we're travelling on. That is, of course, why bottlenose dolphins can live here. Many other marine species as well, as I mentioned earlier when I pointed out the recreational fishermen. So the tide comes in and out of the river every day. Now you might have noticed all this beautiful parkland along the river's edge and lovely little beaches. 90% of the banks of this river remain as public land for everyone to enjoy. And that's basically because it is a shallow river. On average, only 4.9 metres deep. Historically, this means that big ships have never been able to come onto this river. So there has never been commercial shipping. As a result, industry has never been built along the banks. No industry means no pollution. It's a clean river, the dolphins are healthy, and you can eat the fish, prawns and crabs you catch here. And because no industry has been built along the banks, that is why 90% of these banks remain as public land. So the shallowness of this river has been a real bonus for everyone living in Perth. It means that this is a recreational river. Now we have left the city skyline behind us, but we are still surrounded by the suburbs of Perth. As I said earlier, Perth is of course the capital of Western Australia, home to just over 2 million people. Not the biggest city in the country, but we are the fastest growing capital city in Australia. It is estimated that by 2050, Perth will have doubled its population to 4 million. So a lot of people are drawn here. Good job prospects, especially mining and oil and gas. Lovely relaxed outdoor lifestyle due to this mild Mediterranean climate. The only problem some people have when they come to settle in Perth is the isolation. Perth is one of the most isolated capital cities in the world. And that's because Western Australia occupies just over 1/3 of the landmass of this continent. So our nearest neighbouring capital city is Adelaide in South Australia, just over 2,000 kilometres to the east. And to the west of us, we have the Indian Ocean. Next landfall due west of Perth is South Africa, over 8,500 kilometres away. So we are right in the middle of nowhere. And if you are visiting us from interstate or overseas, you probably realise that with a long plane flight or train ride here to Perth. But of course, many benefits if you can overcome the isolation. Once again, a lovely climate. It is described as a mild Mediterranean climate, so hot, dry summers and cool, wet winters. Spring and autumn are beautiful times of the year here in Perth. That climate does tend to make boating and water sports very popular, with the beautiful Swan River that we've seen this morning. 80 kilometres of pristine white sandy beach coastline along Perth, and just a 30-minute ferry ride from Fremantle is Western Australia's favourite island playground. So we do love the water. Much of the year is suitable for water activities. We're also the sunniest capital city in the country, and, believe it or not, one of the windiest capital cities in the world, especially during the summer months when our famous sea breeze comes in. We call it the Fremantle Doctor, and it regularly blows 20 to 30 knots throughout the summer months. Now, having just talked about the sun and the wind, it's probably a good time for a full weather report, so let me have a quick look out the window. Partly cloudy, bit of sunshine.